Welcome back. We are live at the Atlanta Innovation Studio powered by MailChimp. My name is Lakeith Taylor, Senior Vice President, Brand Marketing and Creative at the Metro Atlanta Chamber. I am joined today by two very special guests who I have the pleasure of knowing. BM Joyner of Atlanta Influences Everything and Brandon Butler of Butler ATL. I'm going to let them talk about their brands a little bit. We're going to get into a really interesting conversation today about culture. But before we get into that, just want to ask both of you, like, how are you doing personally? How's everything in life for you?
And we're just getting to know each other. So we got a lot to build on. You know my partner Tori well. Yep. So my name is Bane, pronounced like name but Bane. Yep. But it means peace in Swahili. Long story. But my middle name means warrior. It's Ali. So my life is built around my name. My last name is Joyner. Okay. So peaceful warrior who joins people is kind of like how I live. With that said,
Tori missed me on the memo with that. So.
Oh yeah. See, that's what we got to build. Yeah. Shout out to my partner Tori Edwards, my partner Ian Ford, who I co-founded Atlanta Influences Everything with. But yeah, I'm doing well. Rode a scooter over here from Auburn Avenue. Went to the wrong buildings. Cynthia Curry came and saved me. So yeah, I got water. Just happy to be here. Thank you for having me. Yeah, and absolutely. With Brandon. I like Brandon.
Yeah, man. Happy to be here too. Just coming off a little 2-week vacation. You know, it's been a good year for Butter and for Atlanta, but it's been a busy year. So I just tell everybody out there, you know, I know we all going hard. We know we all doing everything we can to help, you know, put Atlanta on a pedestal and represent the culture, but you do got to take some time for yourself every once in a while. So coming off a nice little vacation, you know, had a chance to clear my mind, get some new perspective, see some new things, and really came back, you know, ready to attack this fourth quarter, man, make it happen. Absolutely,
man. Now, it's a beautiful thing, man. I know a lot of these conversations have been kind of rooted around pandemic, how business and culture and community has shifted. But I just want to kind of start at the beginning for both of y'all. Like, you know, you kind of at the helm of two very iconic brands, right, that I think represent the culture and the story of Atlanta. So I just want to talk about the original vision for a second. So I want to start with you. Atlanta Influences Everything. I mean, the name speaks for itself. Kind of talk to me about how you guys built the brand. What was the original kind of vision for it?
Also start by saying I can't wait to hear the origin story that Brandon is going to say. I want to see what he's, So, short and quick of it, end of 2015, my partner Ian and I were running a brand company that helped when brands wanted to market to consumers in this region. A lot of times they would get the Atlanta marketing campaign wrong. So we wanted to deal with brands to help them market in Atlanta. Nike was coming out with the 20th anniversary of the 1996 Olympic shoe. That being from here, I sold water during the Olympics. Like that changed my city. And so we just knew that Nike was going to spend marketing dollars in Atlanta to do a great campaign. Wanted to get Billy Payne a shoe, get the Maynard Jackson family a shoe. Kasim was mayor at the time. We pitched a scavenger hunt that involved the Beltline and MARTA to Nike, where people could win these shoes based on the money that they spent in Chicago for the release of some Jordan 1s because of what Michael Jordan meant to Chicago.
Absolutely.
We were told by Nike, we had a homeboy up there, Chaos, who went to Doug High School actually. His higher-ups told him that Atlanta was not a valid and relevant enough market for that dollar spend. And at the same time when this was happening, what was happening in pop culture at the same time was the beginnings of and doing that to say that Nike didn't understand that and many other things were coming from here.
Born here,
in my frustration, I said, hey man, we don't have the bean like Chicago, we don't have this like LA or New York, but all I can tell you, man, is Atlanta Influences Everything. My partner Ian, being from Brooklyn, went to Morehouse, never went back to Brooklyn. He ran it through his Brooklyn meter and said, that could be kind of true. I never went back to Brooklyn. The problem with Atlanta is, though, we don't tell our story well. Is that Nike's fault? I still think it's Nike's fault. But what I realized that Office of Cultural Affairs, Atlanta Convention and Visitors Bureau, Metro Atlanta Chamber, Invest Atlanta, that they understood, but not enough to leverage the city's brand power to these big brands that were taking from our culture. And so while I was mad at Nike, it was like, well, damn, my little business, why are we even dealing with Nike? Why do I have to explain to them? Why the chamber is not standing with me saying, nah, yo, this is what we finna do in the market. So we did the shirt, Atlanta Influences Everything, and then my partner Tori came on and said, hey, we need to make this beyond the shirt. This needs to be a movement and a mantra that we build a business behind, and that's how the company was started.
Got it. Yeah, appreciate you for that. Yeah. Brandon?
Yeah, man. Butter was kind of born out of actually an agency out here called Dagger, and I just want to clear some things because a lot of people think there's some body behind me, pulling the strings or telling us what to do. But I got to be honest, authentically, I've been able to really kind of build and run this brand in a way that I've always felt like represents Atlanta culture.
Absolutely.
Really autonomously, right? But, when we kind of first started it, really the idea was just Atlanta needs to, kind of like what Bame just said, Atlanta needs to be able to, has never had a chance to tell its own stories.
Yeah.
I've worked in, marketing, I've been in agencies for a long time, and I've seen it happen. I've wrote the checks, I've seen how the checks get cut. Before I was there, I was the VP of Digital at Edelman, which is the biggest PR firm in the world. Before I was there, I was at Accenture. It's I've seen it done at a huge level, right? But what I notice is Atlanta never gets a chance to tell its own stories. When it comes time to cut the checks, when it gets time to do the creative, they go run to LA, New York, DC, Chicago, all these other places, and bring somebody down there and say, so tell me about these lemon pepper wings y'all eat. And so, when we kind of first launched Butter, that was my whole idea was, our definition of culture was people like us do things like this.
Yep.
It's a reason in Atlanta why, you can take the same crew from, the High Museum to Waffle House to Magic City, and everybody's going to have a good time, right? Because Atlanta moves a certain kind of way. And so in all the content, everything we've done, I've just always tried to make sure the team and everything we do kind of accurately reflects that. And I've also tried to make sure that every time we did something, we also pulled the right partners in. Again, Bame was at our launch party, man. I reached out to him, and I didn't even know this brother like that, right? But when I was bringing Butter to life in Atlanta, I felt like it was super important to get the right people involved because, again, there's the SEO version of influence, but then there's also the real version of influence. And so, again, just everything we do about, Butter is all about, again, Atlanta culture. We just want to, showcase it in a fun way. And I think that's especially important now. There's a lot of folks out there that are only telling one side or not necessarily the best side of Atlanta. And I think we always kind of try to have fun with it, but again, do it in an authentic way. So we're not avoiding the issues that exist because everybody has issues, especially in growing pains. But there's an authentic way to do that. And that's more than just showing, crime and broken car windows, right? There's a lot of really awesome things happening in the city, great people, great businesses, great things being started, and just being able to tell that story through content over the years has been a great journey.
Yeah. So, both of the brands are really born out of a rallying cry, right? I think we've all felt it, right? Felt the frustration. You go to larger markets, LA, New York, right? Chicago, and it's no, Atlanta's competitive in the same way too, right? And so a lot of the times I've heard people they can't really put a finger on yo, I like Atlanta culture, but I can't really finger point what it is, right? When people ask you that, what's the answer? What do you say? Because it's not really one, right? It's not one.
Look, I say Atlanta influences everything.
Absolutely.
Again, honestly, just being 100% real, I always say, culture is Atlanta's number one export. And even right now, I'm working with a campaign. For example, I'm working on a campaign right now to highlight the HBCU experience, right? And one of the things I told this brand that I'm working with was, if we can get this to pop here, it'll pop everywhere because, again, Atlanta is the mecca of HBCUs.
Absolutely.
Right? So if whatever we do here, the rest of the country will follow, right? So I think, again, we just export cool, export again. I keep saying our definition of culture is people like us do things like this. We move a certain way. We move together. Me and Bane, we partnered on 404 Day. And this is the second year in a row we did it. We did it last year when everything with COVID shut down. Did a huge virtual event with Jermaine Dupri. This year, we shut down a whole Wild Haven brewery. The city of Atlanta came out, gave us a proclamation, right? So again, even the ability of some of the bigger cultural brands in the city to like work together, to have sit downs and say, yo, like how can all of us kind of put our arms around the city and kind of show it the right way? I think just, again, speaks volumes to Atlanta and just that progressive culture, that openness and just willingness to do the right thing to put the city on.
Absolutely, absolutely.
And well, first of all, that 404 day thing, because of the lack of cohesiveness and collaboration, cross-sector, cross-agency in Atlanta, very siloed. There's mythical origins to the 404 day, like where it came from, who started it. That involves hyper-local person, involves the people that are now known for it, and even involves an agency in New York as well as AT&T, all wrapped into possibly what became 404 Day. But to Brandon's point, if he's saying Atlanta influences everything, then the folks that came up with it have to bear the brunt of somebody pushing back. Like, nah, hold on, what do you? So we justify the statement by, first and foremost, the home of Dr. King. So, you know, you got a Bob Marley, every city doesn't get a Dr. King. So we got him. And so the precipice of the civil rights movement and everything that comes from that permeates throughout the rest of the world. So that's civic in that space. The second would be one of the most recognizable brands in the world behind Nike probably would be Coca-Cola. You can make it into anything, but as long as you keep the squiggly line and the, you know, it's like, yo, that's Coke anywhere in the world. For sure. And so corporate commerce, and from my understanding, we have the third largest chamber in the country. We have a very strong chamber. So business is flowing here. So corporate commerce would be the second C. Third C, home of outcasts. So basically,
entertainment,
home
music,
urban culture.
film.
And urban culture influences pop culture, and we all know American pop culture goes on and influence. So when you put the three of those together, that's how we justify it. But I'll end by saying, in terms of the work we have to do, when I was at the Center for Civic Innovation, as a creator, I identify as a creative, but I learned how the city works. I learned more about the chamber and Invest Atlanta, and a lot of the folks that make the culture flow, they don't come in 191 as often as they should. They don't read the business chronicle. So the ecosystem is off, and because the ecosystem is not connected with all of this, we are number one in income inequality, and we have the 4% upward mobility rate. So if you're born poor in Atlanta, there's a 96% chance you'll die poor. So the work we have to do is build up from the bottom, public school system, tie it all in. The last thing I'll say with my friends is a joke, because I'm from old Atlanta, but my brand and this platform I'm on right now apparently is New Atlanta. So old Atlanta raised me, but New Atlanta pays me. Is that cool? Is that a t-shirt? Nah. We have to connect the old and New Atlanta, and that's what we're here to do. And I appreciate the platform to even do this.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, I appreciate you providing insight. A lot of people, again, like come and ask questions about old Atlanta, New Atlanta. You get a lot of people moving here, transplants. So it's important to have this conversation. We definitely have to continue it on a larger platform. So next year we should be up on stage doing the keynote, right?
Let's do it.
Yeah,
let's do it. And we got to get some. It's a lot of dope women. Cause I know we broed up in here, but it's they outnumber us. So shout out, y'all know.
Absolutely.
What up, Melissa? We'll see you tonight. Go Hawks. Braves.
I know. Yeah, go Braves, go Hawks. Kicking off the season tonight. So that's our time today. We appreciate you tuning in to the Atlanta Innovation Studio. Appreciate my guests here, providing some very deep context and insight. Want to continue this conversation. I wish we could, but please tune in. We're going to have more coming to you very soon.